This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hello and welcome to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. Today, joined here by a very important guest here, we have Mr. Greg Darnell. Mr. Darnell is a great gentleman and speaker we're going to have, an educator about bits and how the bit potentially could affect horses. And I think that's where we're going to go with it. Just tell a little bit about your biggest interest that you have as you kind of evolved through bit making and education.
Over the years, Chris, from start to finish on this, my primary goal and interest, not only as a producer but as a horseman as well, is the preservation of a horse's mouth. Obviously, if I do my job correctly and build good, safe mouthpieces and bridle bits, the preservation and the longevity of that horse's mouth stands a better chance. The second part of my endeavor is always to try to educate people about what the conformation and oral cavity, or the inside of a horse's mouth, is like, and the parts of it that are affected by those mouthpieces that we build.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, as you mentioned, is just the conformation of the horse's mouth. What kind of things, when you start talking about the conformation of the horse's mouth and how a bit could affect that, what are some things that maybe even riders and owners should really be paying attention to when it comes to that and trying to pick a bit and those kind of things?
Obviously, before we ever bid any horse, we want to do a physical inspection.
Yeah.
Whether you're there, Chris, to help and guide, or whether they're doing it on their own, we're primarily we're interested in buccal flap, the interdential space, which is that space between the canine and the premolar. We want to make sure that those bits, those interdential spaces, have nice sharp crowns on them and that they haven't been damaged. Always, if a horse has a physical problem, I'm going to rely on you and your expertise to help me with those things. But the physical inspection, if I don't know they're there, I can't ask for your help. Tongue is the other thing that we're going to look at. Has it been cut? Has it been lacerated? What do we need to do to avoid that tongue if it has been?
Yeah.
Palate is one of the third areas, that area that runs from the incisor clear back to the thorax. It's got a hard bone underneath it. If that's been damaged or lacerated, we want to know about those things before we ever get ready to put a bit, which is a foreign object, in their mouth.
And, you know, whenever you're taking and thinking about a bit and you start talking about tongue, like even there's been some horses just doing a general exam that have a lot of scars on their tongue from what I would perceive potentially as being a bit, maybe. Depends on what kind of things they put in the mouth, but.
There are several ways that tongues get lacerated. Usually the owner is going to deny ever having pulled on one, so
yeah.
Obviously you have to read between the lines. Anytime that tongue's been lacerated, as you know, that is a weakened place in that tongue, so obviously in the selection of a mouthpiece, we're going to pick a mouthpiece that doesn't further injure that laceration.
I'm Dr. Chris Blevins with Horsing Around, and we'll be right back.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer it and work with you.